Kanga.
Roo.
Coming up on this season preview, powered by PointsBet, we are up to the North Melbourne Kangaroos. They just have to be better this year, Das. They've got the talent. They've got the kids in the building. This is the year. Das.
Jev, it's been awesome. We've got lamb chops for lamb chops. Jev, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. You guys can find us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can find us, as always, at 100K Sports, Jev. This has been an awesome preview. North Melbourne, I think we're bullish on them. I think they're going to be a bit better this year than... Jev, they've only won 15 games in the last 5 years. They stink.
Welcome back to the 100K season previews, powered by PointsBet. Today we are up to the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Joining me as always, Darcy Ballard. Dobe, how are you, brother?
Jev, I am absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to get into North Melbourne. They have been starved for success the last 10 or so years. They were playing in prelims, I think, 10 years ago. Was it 2015, 14, maybe a little bit earlier than that. But this team has been on the bottom and they've been the laughing stock of the AFL. So we feel, I think everyone sort of thinks this will be the year they have to make a jump. Really excited to dive into it. They have made some list changes, so it will be exciting to get into it, Jev. Last year, again, they went 3-20. I think they've won like 15 games in the last 5 years or something. Like, it's something ridiculous. Competition A graders, Jev. This is where we always start. The thinner teams, sometimes they don't have as much high-end talent. Who do you have for North Melbourne competition A graders?
So just the one for me, Das. Just the one for me. Harry Sheezel has competition superstar written all over him. Averaged 30 touches and 420 metres gained last year. He's only getting better and better and better. Looks like he's going to add goals to his game this year, or more centre forward to his game and kicking inside 50. He's on All-Australian Brownlow Coaches Award MVP watch. He's on it all this year. We're watching him all. But North supporters, you can't get upset at this pod because, yes, we are super excited for your 2025 season and it should all start to click, but you still are the team that's won 3 games in 2024, 3 games in 2023, 2 games in 2022, 4 games in 2021, and 3 games in 2020. Like, that is 5 years of absolute mediocrity. So if North supporters think they've got more competition A graders than just Harry Sheezel, they just can't, because you just can't keep putting out that sort of, that sort of performances. That's 15 wins in 5 years. The Swans won 17 games last year. So they won more games in 1 year than they won in 5 years. So, there's 2 guys that could have been competition A graders, but when I looked at that, I'm like, nah, they can only have one. And, I went Harry Sheezel.
Jev, it's unbelievable. And you said the Swans won more games than them last year. So did Port Adelaide. They've won more than North Melbourne in 5 years, which is absolutely ridiculous. I've gone the 2. I've put Luke Davies-Uniacke in there. He was a one-man band for a while. It's tough when it's slim pickings down back and up forward. Like, he's trying to do what he can. He's taking the number 1 defender in the midfield every time. But now that Sheezel's come through as well, as we mentioned, we could argue he's a top 5 player in the comp. Like, he has all the tools. And we always talk about when people get drafted, it's all about where you get drafted to. So you had Ashcroft that jumped into the Brisbane side. Dacos went into Collingwood. Sheezel went into North Melbourne. And there's some players that will always go like that. Like, they just might not jump into the right position. But instantly, he got drafted as a forward. They put him straight back. He was getting like 35 disposals every game. You know that he can literally play all 3 phases of the game. He can defend, he can play in the midfield, and he can hit the scoreboard. So this year, I definitely think we're going to be seeing a little bit more centre forward from him. Luke Davies-Uniacke, whether he signs, I think North Melbourne fans would be pretty... I reckon that they're going to sign him. I'm not sure what you reckon, Jev, but he's been there through the bad times. I think you stay through. I feel there's a few players that do that, like Bont's done it, even though he was in a good side, but he's been there for a while and he's probably had a million offers. Cripps stayed. There's something about these type of players that I think when they've been there through these times that they actually will sign on. Davies-Uniacke is so explosive, Jev. I absolutely love what he brings to the table. I think now that we've got a few younger pieces around him, he will have an even better season. It's tough though. He's last 2 years been a little bit injured. It's what do you have? 23 games last year and then 14 the year before. So it's hard, especially you get a really good picture painted when teams go long into the season or they make finals. That's when they really make a stamp in your mind. And the fact that they've been horrendous. Like, I think, was it last year or the year before? They won their first 2 games and then they only won their last game. So it's like, it's hard to take out the good stuff when they're so bad. So I think this year we're definitely going to see the pop. And if he doesn't sign at St Kilda, if he doesn't sign North Melbourne, that contract at St Kilda, I'd love to know what it is.
Yeah, they say the North have a contract in front of him. Like, they've got a deal in front of him that's a bloody nice deal. He just hasn't signed it yet, but they reckon he will. But I don't blame him for waiting. If he goes through another 3-win season, like, you'd just be flat. And if you back yourself, the price is only going to go up. So it's going to be tough. Like, everyone says he has to stay. If they win 3 games again this year for the 6th year in a row, I'd be fucking leaving.
Well, this is the thing. Your career's only so short.
I know.
And if he went somewhere, for example, and won a flag, it's all forgotten. Everything's all forgotten because you made the right decision. You look at NFL players, NBA players do it all the time. Like, if you go somewhere and win a championship or a premiership, it's like, oh, yeah, he made the right call. Your career is so short. And then if you have success, then your career after footy is just elevated. You have so many more opportunities. So, yeah, I hope he stays. Hope he has a good season. But, yeah, Sheezel and LDU for me. Position A graders, Jev, in a team that's only won, as you said, 15 games in the last 5 years. Who have you plucked out to be a position A grader?
So now this is where I don't know if I'm unbelievably bullish on North or I'm just flat out dumb and wrong on them, because I have 4 position A graders, Das. Right. 4. So let's start with Nick Larkey. 46 goals in 2024, 71 goals in 2023. To become a comp A grader, he needs to be somewhere in between that for the next 2-3 years. Do what Jeremy Cameron does. Basically kicks 58 goals a year every year. You just sign him up for over 50. So that's what I want to see for him. He's got the talent. If they get their offense, going and kick it to him right, and you get McKercher and Sheezel kicking it to him more and they kick more goals, I reckon he could explode to a 60-goal season. We've spoken about how bullish we are on him, and we'll talk about it more later. But, yeah, I've got Nick Larkey as a comp A grader, position A grader, sorry. My first one. Have you got one?
Yeah, Jev, I went with you there. Nick Larkey, 100%. Any side that he's walking into, he'll be starting. I love the way that he plays. Only comes out. He doesn't really have to get up the ground too much. He's a real stay-at-home forward, isn't he? But when he gets the ball in his hands, he's a beautiful set shot. There's like him and Ben King, I feel, play very similar. That similar role. Like, they don't really hit up the ground too much, real much stay at home. But he's going to be real reliant this year again to try and just get some really good entries. So I've got him as a position A grader. I've got Tristan Jerry, the Ruckman Jev. He really exploded last year. People were arguing that, yes, he might have got the nod for the All-Australian over Max Gawn, but unless if you're overtaking Max, if it's even, you got to give it to Max. He's still the best in the comp. He goes back. Tristan Jerry, super tough though, and definitely having a real mainstay ruckman that can play majority of the game. I reckon that the midfield really flourished from that because they just had really good continuity within the middle. They knew where everyone was going. So definitely made them a lot better. They actually weren't too bad of a clearance side last year because of him and because of the fact that they actually got some more minutes through the guys in the midfield. So I've actually just got those 2, Jev. So I'm interested to hear who your other 2 are.
Yeah, so I wrote Tristan Jerry as well, Das. He's an A-grade ruckman. He was unbelievable last year. I hope he only gets better this year. So I've got LDU. This is one guy am I being harsh on. Like, is he a comp A grader? Is he better than Sheezel? Like, eye test says he's as good as anyone in the comp. Like, he basically averaged 28 touches and 6 clearances a game in 2024. But I don't know if he has the same impact on winning football games as guys like Danger or Butters or Brayshaw or Sarong, if you know what I mean. Like, is that what the next step for LDU is this year? When he goes off for 28-1 and 8 clearances, it equals to a North win? Or am I being too harsh? And if he played for Collingwood, he'd be a top 5, top 10 mid in the comp. I don't know. It's just that North have been so shit for so long. I couldn't have 2 comp A graders, so I was probably a bit harsh on LDU. And then my last one, Dobe, is Colby McKercher. I couldn't figure out how to describe him, and I saw our guy Sench Footy on Instagram post something saying Colby McKercher is on the Errol Goulden trajectory. And I just fucking love that. When I see McKercher, I see hard running, underratedly quick, Beautiful, beautiful kick of the footy. Might be known as the best kick in the league after this year. Super clean. I'm so bullish on him this year. The sky's the limit. I reckon he's going to absolutely flourish this year. I'm just sort of boosting him up. I reckon he's got Errol Goulden written all over him. North supporters love him. He's a beautiful kick, and he's going to get more like the keys. They're going to give him more expectation, and I reckon he's going to love it. So I'm all in on Colby McKercher this year, Das.
I love that you've chucked a young kid in there, Jev. But yeah, personally, I think you're a bit harsh on LG. I just think if he was in a better side, I feel he's doing everything he can from a midfield point of view to get it out, and it's just fucking rebounding back out. So maybe if he was on a different side, like a Geelong or a Fremantle or a Brisbane, a Collingwood even, then those touches then look so influential because they're getting on the scoreboard. But I do understand what you mean. It's when you're only winning a few games a year, it's like, how much more can you do? But I feel the only counter argument to that is how shit Carlton were, and it looked like Cripps had to do everything. And now that we're a little bit better, it looks like he's so much better, but he's still doing the same shit.
Yeah, no, here. And sometimes it looks like LDU's a little bit lazy sort of with the defensive stuff, but when you're fucking getting pumped every week, how hard would it be to just constantly be running two ways? Like, he's such a star with the offensive side of the game and the clearance side of the game. And yeah, if they start winning games, I can't wait to see him. Like, does he become just an absolute freak in all aspects of the game? I probably am too harsh, but yeah, let's get into notable role players, Das. Who do you have as notable role players for North Melbourne?
So I've put in the three big inclusions, Jev, because they're going to be playing a massive part. Parker, Darling, and Daniels. So Daniels apparently had it on the string on the half-back line. He's going to be the pretty much straight replacement for Zach Fisher, you would think, because you don't need a million small guys just trying to deal out of the back line. Zach Fisher took a lot of the kickouts last year. Caleb Daniels, still a really good player, had an awesome grand final the other year. So he will definitely be a really big, notable role player in that side. I just feel they don't have to be stars. Jack Darling, when he goes in the forward line, Nick Larkey always has to take the one. He just needs to be a big body. I know it's a different circumstance, but I can see him being like the Gunston to Cole Shadir. You just keep putting on body. You just keep trying to make blocks and avenues and let Larkey be the star. Yeah. And then you got Luke Parker, Jev, wherever you need him. If you need him to go out there and kick a few goals, go forward and just be the tough Luke Parker that we all know, he'll do that. If he has to go in the midfield and just get a few clearances, like he's getting, if LDU or Sheezel or some of the young boys are getting locked up, he'll be like, here, boys, I'll do it for you. I'll put on a block for you, or I'll just go get it myself. So I feel the three players that they've actually put in, all different three phases of the footy, because you feel Darling will be more deep, Parker will probably be mid-forward-ish, and then you've got Caleb Daniels down back. I feel they're going to be massive role players for North going forward. What about you?
No, here. I wrote down our man, Eddie Ford. Fuck knows what his role is. I just wanted to get him in the pod. Has 6 sideburns, flies at every mark and can kick a sausage. I just love him. But I wrote down George Wardlaw, Das. On a scale of 1 to 10 in worrying, I'm about a 6 with George. He's going to be a star. But is he going to be that guy that is just injured his entire career and you can never see the best of him, like the true best of him? We have incredible sourcing that he just can't kick. He just can't kick the ball. Can't reveal our source, but we're hearing he just cannot kick, which is sad to hear. But that's not what he needs to hang his hat on. If there's a ball to be won between him and a fucking gorilla and a lion, he will win it. He's an absolute junkyard dog, sort of like Libba. Like, can you see George Wardlaw being the Tom Liberatore of the North, and he just puts his head over the ball and he gets it to McKercher and Sheezel and the better kick. So got to write down George Wardlaw. Got to give him a bit of love. Jai Simpkin, Das, he's lucky we're filming this the day after the Indigenous All-Star game, but he was sensational in that game. He's the sole captain now. He's a really good footballer. You can tell how badly he wants it. He does everything well, nothing great, but I love the way he goes about it. He does run defense. He does put tackling pressure on. He cares so much. I love him as a person and a leader of the club. They brought in Caleb Daniel. I believe there's only one spot for Caleb Daniel or Zach Fisher, as we were sort of saying, but they both have a role in the side, and it's getting the ball out of the back line with amazing kicking. And then I want to get around my guy, Luke Parker.
Let's go.
I can't believe he doesn't play for the Swans anymore. Like, I love him so much. He's going to play his 300th game in a North jersey, and it It seriously upsets me, Das. But he'll play such a good role for them. As you said, he'll put his big body in the midfield if they're getting beaten up a little bit. He'll stand on a Bont or a Lockie Neal or a Clary or someone like that if they're just bullying North. He'll get out of the way if Sheezel, Colby and LDU are just cooking, and he'll go forward, which he's also seriously good at. I think he's going to be huge for North. You saw in the prelim last year, he did a roll on Aliir where he just played on Aliir, but he'll also, as I said, he'll go into the midfield if they're getting beaten up and put his body on someone. He'll play half forward as a high half forward if he has to. He's so versatile. He's so smart. He's such a good footballer. I'm so shattered he doesn't play for the Swans anymore. North got an absolute gem in him.
I don't think we're talking about him enough as a recruit. Like, we could look at the end of this year. We'll go through obviously the over-unders at the end, but he could legit put them over the top of what, I mean, not the finals, but where their line is. Well over. Team experience, what was it against the Giants the other year, round 1, against a real good Giant side? He just had to go forward and just kick 5.
Kick 5, goal of the year.
Everything. He can do everything. And he's just, as you said, a junkyard dog. And if you can get Wardlaw back, those two just in the middle, I feel they've got a few more outside guys out. You want Sheezel to be more outside. You don't want him to be going to get the footy. LDU can get it from inside to out. But then, as we mentioned, you've got McKercher, Dersma, which will pretty much segues into our next bit, Jev, the young guns. So they picked up Finn O'Sullivan. He looks to be a big size, big fella, pick 2. Let's hope that he plays the whole year. Sheezel, he's still only a kid, Jev. You've got Wardlaw, as we said, he's hammy. Apparently tried to kick I won't say it, the absolute shit out of the footy, and he's done his hammy, so hopefully he comes back. But McKercher's outside, Jev. It's a raking left foot. He just needs to become like a suckling. Just get him on the outside and just let him deal with that left foot. But he's also got an engine and super quick. Why it almost looked like Suckling would sit back a little bit more and was just stand and deliver. So he can actually use his pace up and down. And then Dersma, Jev, he really couldn't find a spot in the side. I think he went, what was he? He was top 5 or something. Pick 4.
McKercher pick 2. He was pick 3 or something.
Yes, something like that. So he took the hanger last year. Apparently he's got all the tools as well, but it's such a hard role when to come into a side as a small mid flying half forward when you're in a shit side. So I actually love that Clarko's just go play in the 2s for most of the year. Go get some confidence. He kicks a couple bags of 3 and 4. So we definitely haven't seen the best of him. Another year or 2, and then we'll really see him go. So yeah, what you want in a side, you want to have some good experienced heads, a few guns, and then 3 to 4 young guns that are just absolutely just bullet a gate, ready to go. So it's exciting if you're North fans, Jev. And I think we said last year, we might look back on these last 2-3 drafts in 10 years and said that was the best crop of draft picks of all time. So
and
what do you reckon?
Hate North when they're just fucking winning 3 premierships in a row. Yeah, for sure. So how good can Finn O'Sullivan be, you reckon, Das? Who did they compare him to on draft night? I can't remember. But he's 183 centimetres, pick 2 midfielder. This is how they described him, a well-rounded and versatile midfielder whose sheer array of traits is his point of difference among a deep pool of unique prospects. So do you remember who they compared him to? I couldn't find anyone they compared him to.
Probably Spawn.
He just looks like he's going to be a player. And then you were talking about Zane Dersma, Das. I don't want this to come off as harsh or mean. I'm just confused what he is. What's it going to look like this year? Is he a hybrid huge midfielder, or is he a bit of an undersized forward? Is he supposed to be like Jez Cameron, or is he supposed to be like Bont and Pat Cripps sort of thing? Has he put some size on over the preseason? What are we going to see out of Zane Dersma this year? What's it supposed to look like? What's the end goal? Is Jez Cameron the end goal, or is it like Bont or Cripps?
I don't think that he's that big enough to be them. I almost thought just a bigger, better, more polished first-year Jaden Stevenson at Collingwood.
That you can't take that at pick 3. It has to be more than that.
But no, the first season, coming through super quick, because I don't see how big he's he's not going to be a bustling sort of guy. Maybe a Jez Cameron, but more high flying. But I don't think he's got the forward craft to be as good as Jez Cameron. So I don't know. I never watched his under 18 tape. It was all just about this kid. He's got all the tools. It's all right, but what's he doing? Don't tell me, Jev, if you're going to go like this as well. Let's say we don't want another Nick Cox where it's this kid can do it all. But he's not doing much.
Is it, or are we going to see him looking like Nick Blakey? Or remember Nick Blakey started as a forward and then went back? Or can he look like Josh Weddle? Or I'm sure he can play. I just don't know what he is. I don't want it to come off as mean. I just don't get what the end goal is. Is it? I don't even know. I actually don't know.
Hopefully he's playing the first half of the year and we get a little bit more. Guys, if North Melbourne fans in the comments, let us know, like, what is the end goal for Dersma?
What's it supposed to look like? Give me a comparison of what it's going to look like down the track. Like, as I said, he's the same height as Bont and Cripps, but is he ever going to be able to put on that size? Or is it going to look more like Jez Cameron, but maybe not as big? I'm trying to think of some other comparisons. Like I'm just thinking of the Swans, like guys like Will Hayward, or is that what he's going to be? Like, he can take a big mark. Is it Isaac Heaney? Is he going to look like an Isaac Heaney, a bit taller, sort of slimmer Isaac Heaney that can really dominate as a one-on-one target down forward? Like, I just don't know what it is, Das. I don't want to be mean. I want someone to tell me. I'm trying not to be an asshole. As you said, can North supporters please tell us? Next one, Das. What are we up to next? Is their depth? What did you write down for their depth?
Well, when we look at it, we had a few people flourish from their back line a little bit. But when you look at some good teams, like you look at Brisbane, you can look at their back line and look how strong they are. You look at any premiership side and you can look through their back line. But the defense again, Jev, who else is going to step up? Because I'm not sure who's scaring sides. So you've got Aiden Core, Griffin Lowe, Luke McDonald, Callan Dawson, Jackson Archer had a good year last year. Let's hope he keeps going. Toby Pink, Josh Goda, Miller Bergman, Will Dawson, Riley Hardman. Then you've got Zach Fisher, Caleb Daniels. Like, do you know any of those names?
Yeah.
I know Griffin Lowe barely played. Silver Top Taxi, Aiden Core, I think, had 85 goals kicked on him last year. Yeah. Like, he almost won the Coleman, like the reverse Coleman by himself. I just don't know. I know they've gone all in on their midfield, but if they get one or two injuries, like, who else is sliding into this side? So it's just, that's my big question with the defense. Because when a team gets front running, GMHBA last year, round 6, and they went down there, yes, if you look at their midfield, it's like, yeah, it's pretty good. The forward line's ready to go. You've got some excitement down there. But Geelong's midfield just won everything and got it forward. And I'm pretty sure Geelong kicked 8 goals in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't matter how good your midfield and forward is. It's like, if you're not winning from there and it's just going to your back line, like, you're going to get pumped. So I just want to know who's stepping up, or if someone is coming out, who is the next person to come through? Because a few of these names, Jev, if they served your Subway, you would know who they are. But I'm rooting for them. I'm bloody rooting for them.
At least, like, West Coast can hang their hat on having Jeremy McGovern and stuff. Like, it just, yeah. So this is where, in depth, this is where I go through their squad, and this is where I worry about North a bit. Can those players who can clearly play AFL footy but have played a lot of losing football, like so much losing football in the thing, keep improving and play big-time footy? Like guys like Cam Zurhaar, Aiden Core, Bailey Scott, Luke McDonald, Tom Powell, Will Phillips, Jackson Archer. Are these guys still improving and ready to play footy in September? Like, that's, see, we're so sure Sheezel, LDU, McKercher, Larkey, they'll flourish when they get to September, when they finally get there. It's these guys. It's like, are they September ready, or are they just average? Have they played too much losing footy already? And you're like, oh God, like, it's just never going to work. So depth is where I worry about North. They've got the high-end talent in the building. We all love their high-end talent. It's just, to go to that next step, you need to have 23 good players on the field, and I just don't know if they've got that yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, as I said, and I know we're projecting, but they've still only won 15 games in 5 years. Like, we've got to see some winning. There has to be, like, something to change the culture. So, Dark Horse All-Australian, Jev, there's probably only a couple of guys that you'd put their hand up to get this award, or like it's a good league. So, Dark Horse All-Australian, who do you have?
Yeah, I pumped him up before. I got to go my guy Colby McKercher to ask. Getting $13 for him on the PointsBet. Can he be another wing? Can he be on the other wing to Errol Goulden for the next 5 years? I can't wait to watch him play this year. I don't care if I'm being too bullish on him. I just can't wait to watch him. If it's going to look like Errol Goulden in a blue and white jersey, it's going to be so exciting for North Melbourne supporters. So, yeah, Colby McKerch at $13. Super exciting to watch. Das, who'd you go?
Yeah, not too much. Like, they're not dark horse, but because the only ones I really think they can get apart from Larky. But Sheezel, LDU, if you like them, they're both $4. Still a bit short for me, but it's still so hard to crack in. There's only a few midfielders that get picked, and especially mid-forward. So Sheezel's, I like him better just because he can play everywhere. So you might put him on a bench, you might put him like back line, you know what I mean? So if you're selecting a side with integrity, maybe he goes in over an LDU that's definitely not a one-trick pony, but he doesn't sit out of the cube or he doesn't sit behind the ball. So that's why I've gone pretty much Sheezel for $4. Coach Captain Jev, what do you think?
Yeah, massive, massive question mark. Like, I like that they've got a sole captain in Jai Simpkin this year. I hope he's the right guy. Harry Sheezel feels inevitable, but maybe Simpkin is the guy to take a few more bullets as they get better and they still go through a few more lumps. Like, he's the guy that takes the bullets and you give it to Sheezel when you're ready to start playing in September. And then Clarko. Does Clarko still have his fastball? Like, is he still the guy, or has the game gone past him a bit? This is the year. We need to know. Like, if it's another 3-4 win year, does he survive as a coach? Or are they calling Horse Longmire? I reckon this has potential to be a huge story this year. We'll get into more expectations later in the pod, but like, if they're just failing again, if it's just looking like another 3-win season, you just can't stick with Clarko. Like, it's like when Mick Malthouse had his second act at Carlton. Everyone's like, you've got Mick Malthouse, the Collingwood premiership coach, and it just didn't work. He just didn't have the up-to-date game plan. So that feels like what it is with Clarko this year, Das. Mick Malthouse's Carlton tenure. So, yeah, what did you write down for Coach Captain?
Yeah, definitely good that you got rid of Luke McDonald, though. The fact you've had to put out Sheezel in every press conference pretty much in the last, 2 years – and not him, I just definitely think he's in the twilight of his career now. He'll probably get dropped in a few games, I think.
Jesus.
Jai Simpkin, Jev, I couldn't agree more. Like, perfect. Hold on to that mantle maybe for one more year. As you said, it is inevitable. Harry Sheezel will be the captain of this side. Clarko, I do still think that he has the fastball. I think when he got this job that he knew he was going to have to eat some shit for a couple of years. Yep. I reckon he looked at the list and he's just like, you know what? I can do it. We need a really big coach. Because if it was any other coach, they'd be out of the building in a year or two. The fact that he's got 4 flags, I think that he buys himself a bit of extra time. I think that he's had 2 or 3 drafts now that have been fantastic. I think he's finally getting some good kids in. So I think he's got 2 more years. If he has another shit year, Jeb, I agree it's going to be noisy. But then if he has another shit year next year, he's 100% gone. But I still think they've got 2 more seasons, and it seems like that the club is committed to that. They're like, don't worry about the outside noise. You're the man for the job. The players respect you, and we're actually building something. So I still think when you've got the runs on the board, you've got to give him credit. I think when he took over the club, they were horrendous. You go back and look at some of the players on their list, and the fact his last 2 drafts have been really good, I'm really excited to watch North. And if they do pop this year, he could get another 2 or 3 or 4 even extension on top of that deal. But same thing, whether I think that he's the next premiership coach at North, or I think that he's just built it up, almost like a Paul Roos at Melbourne. It's like, well, I'm building this up for a few years, and then he'll hand it over to maybe the next young coach or something to take him over the top just for a different voice. But I still believe in him. I still think that he's one of the best to do it in the modern era. I think Simpkin's perfect for now, as you said, wear the bullets, take the cuts, stand out the front, and then when it's time, put Harry Sheezel there, and North Melbourne will be an absolute powerhouse.
If you had to bet a substantial amount of money to yourself, couple of $1,000 on 0 over under, Clarko is the coach of their next winning final, would you take that or not? Will Clarko coach the next final North Melbourne win? I'm projecting. So I don't think it's going to be in 2025, and I don't think it's going to be in 2026, but I think they will win a final in 2027. Will Clarko be the coach?
I reckon they might, whether they win one or not, I reckon they might make it in the next year or two. Whether they win one, I just don't know what his actual plans are. Like, what if they go really well this year and he still wants to step away? I will say yes. I feel he's still got the fire burning, and I still feel like he probably wants to coach for another 6 or so years. So I'll say yes.
You see it Hawthorn when they nailed a couple of drafts and they got Hodge, Lewis, Franklin, Mitchell, Roughhead, Cyril, all as first round picks, and they kept stacking them. Then they went on and won 3 in a row, 4 in 6 years or whatever it was. So,
And then
maybe he can see that talent in the building, and
And then you pull out some other free agents from there. So you get like a Gibson, you get a Brian Lake, and then you just you just stack pieces around.
Yeah, I hear. Yeah. I know it means nothing. I just thought, do you reckon Zane Dersma has like a Jack Gunston sort of career path in him? Is that what he might look like?
Maybe, but it's crazy because if anyone looks at like a Bruce or a Gunston, they just think like they would almost say that's a failure just because Dersma's a pick 3.
Yeah,
and
but
if you look at a Bruce and he's like an undrafted rookie, it's like, no, but anyone would kill to have Bruce's career. He's kicked over 500 AFL goals.
They both kicked 500 goals, I think. They've kicked 1 billion goals, yeah.
It's crazy.
Is that what it's going to look like? Is that what he's going to look like? A bit of a Gunston? I just don't know. I'm sorry, North supporters. I just don't know. Strength of schedule, Das.
Yeah.
Have you looked at their schedule? Have you gone through it? What do you like? What do you dislike?
Had a little bit of a look. So they go off the ranking. So pick, if you've got number 1, you've got the easiest ranked schedule. Basing off the teams that we versed last year, 18th would be the hardest. North have the 11th ranked schedule.
So pretty tough.
Have you had a look at it?
Yeah, so we're going to find out if they're any good very quickly, Das. So they get an injured Bulldogs team at Marvel round 1. So they're probably going to have no Jamara, no Treloar. Right?
Why can they win it?
D's at Marvel round 2.
They'll push them.
Crows at Adelaide Oval round 3.
I reckon they pinch one of the 3, Jev. I think they get one win early while they're fresh.
Swans at Marvel round 4. The Suns at Gather round. Is there any world they're 3 and 2? Or is 2 and 3 good enough? Or is it 1 and 4, 0 and 5 again? I look at those 5 games and I can't tell you the exact wins, but I can see them being 3 and 2, Das. And injured Dogs, D's at Marvel, Crows at Adelaide Oval, Swans at Marvel, Suns at Gather round. I can see it, but I just can't tell you the wins and losses. I hope they're 3 and 2. I reckon they would sign up for 2 and 3 right now, considering what they've done the last couple of years. If they're 2 and 3 after 5, I reckon it's a good start, Das. Can they not get absolutely pantsed by Carlton on Good Friday for a change? Can they finally beat the Pies when they always play well against the Pies? Every year they play well against the Pies and dog it. They get Carlton twice, Richmond twice, Adelaide twice, Swans twice, Dogs in Marvel Stadium twice, and then Eagles on a neutral ground in Bunbury. Is there 5 wins in those 9 games I just said? Can they get the Dogs once at Marvel Stadium, win their games in Tassie? You know what I'm saying? I've just had a look at their schedule. What did you write down for strength of schedule? What did you see in their schedule?
I think they pinch one of the first 3. I almost think they beat the Dogs. And if you're looking early for round 1, they're paying 4.10.
Yeah, it's not a bad
beat the Dogs. So early as an early head-to-head bet, I like that. Melbourne. This is a Friday night game, Jev. So, it's Sunday. What one was Friday night? They had an early Friday night. Hang on, they've changed. I know the Carlton one. I thought they had another one early. But then they got the Bombers, Jev, at Marvel.
Yep.
I think that's all right. They've got the Lions in Hobart. The Lions will absolutely piece them. But as you said, then they've got the Tigers. They've got Collingwood. They always push Collingwood every single year.
Can they get them this year, though? Can they have someone that can go with Dacos for 4 quarters this time, not 3?
As you said, the Eagles, I think they beat them. The Dockers, I like it. I absolutely love it. I think that if they win, and it's weird, you look at this, if they lose the first 4 or 5, you're like, they're absolutely toast. But if they win the first 2, the rest of their schedule looks like they're a 10-win team. So I'm excited. I'm bullish. I just reckon the young kids are just going to come through. I think Darling, Parker, and Daniels are going to help so much more than anyone else thinks. I really think just having an extra person. I just think when we watch it, we'll know. There's so many times when the ball will just come inside 50 and rebound out. But you just need big Jack Darling just to throw his weight around. He doesn't have to kick 40 goals for the year. Nah. He just doesn't have to give away 40 free kicks, and he just has to bring it to ground.
Yep. I hear.
I'm excited. Jev, in the gun.
I'm going to go Aiden Core and Griffin Logue.
I love it.
You are the key defenders on a team with a heap of talent. You are AFL veterans. can you please stop standing on the mark so much and start defending? North are going to kick a heap of goals this year. Can they stop them though? Good Friday is usually a Chrissy bonus for Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay. They fill their boots and Aiden Core stands on the mark the whole day. Can they change that this year? Can it look like they're defending with their fucking life this year? So, like, their young talent can start taking over and they're not always chasing the game and everything. Like, I'm putting it on Aiden Core and Griffin Logue just to get that little bit better and defend that little bit more and defend like it means something to you, because that'll be the difference between them going from a 3-win side to an 8-win side maybe. So I think Sheezel and stuff are going to win some games off their own boot if you can just defend that little bit better. So I've got them in the gun, Dust. Who did you have?
Have a look at this, Jev. Have a look at this. What's that?
You got some chops on.
When this man soars, people say, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's cutlets in the clouds. They call him lamb chops. The tomahawk cheek ticklers. The Elvis of Arden Street. Number 40, Eddie 40, kicks him from anywhere from inside 40. Jev, we're ready for this man to become an absolute national superstar. We know that he can be. He played 18 games last year and kicked 15 goals. Remember he had a career day down at GMHBA, Jev?
Yes.
He had 3 and 20, and we had every single bloody piece of it. We are ready for this man to just take the next step. We want 30 goals from him, Jev. We want 30 goals from him. And we also want Mark of the Year. We got told, personally by him actually, when they found out that they get a frequent flyer awards for whoever takes Mark of the Year, everyone at North Melbourne had a fly at the ball that week. And I guarantee as soon as they announce the award, Lamb Chops Ford is going to be absolutely in the air, flying and dealing, and we're going to get him on the pod this year. That is 100%. Also, not really in the gun. It's more of just a pump up. Charlie Comben, Jev. He's only 23, 199 centimeters. He played 9 games in his first 3 seasons, played 19 last year, and I can tell you, if you watch them, they are such a different side when he plays. Such a different side. He's awesome. Like, he went forward when he had to against the Blues, kicked 3. I think he only kicked 5 for the year, but he plays back, goes in the middle. Like, he's a really, really, really good player for them. So Charlie Comben, I'm praying for health. Eddie Ford, you're the rock star of North Melbourne. Like, take the next step.
I would love to get into North supporters. I know our man Dan Maloney will message us about this pod, but I'd love to get into North supporters' head. Have they got Jack Darling in the side to then establish Charlie Comben as an all-Australian level centre-half back? Or are they going to play Comben, Larkey and Darling down forward because forwards don't grow on trees? If you can turn Comben into a 40-goal kicker and Larkey into a 50-goal kicker and Darling's down there playing a role, because that shit doesn't go on trees. So do North supporters want to see Comben centre-half back for the next 10 years, becoming an all-Australian caliber centre-half back, or do they want to see him as a duo with Larkey down forward? So he's good at both ends. I really, really like him at both ends, Dar. So I'm super excited to see what it looks like. What would you like to see him as?
Centre-half back for sure.
Yeah, I want to see him as centre-half back.
Centre-half back. 100%.
I look at Harris Andrews and I look at Wiedering and I look at how important they are, and Sam Taylor and these guys. Even Aliir, like, if he can mark everything like those guys,
he can. He's got unbelievable hands, and now that they've booked themselves into getting a lot more runners and outside ball players, all you need is an interceptor that can get you the ball back.
And then quick hands to Kale Daniel. It's flying the other way.
Look at McGovern. West Coast for years, the ball comes in, he takes it. They're like, shit, yep, it's coming back the other way. It's coming back the other way. So they need the other guys, as you mentioned, Jev, Core and Griffin Logue, just to lock down and allow him just to float in between, read the footy, and let the boys reset. Jev, best bet on the board for North Melbourne. So I think we'll probably agree on this one. Is there anything that you absolutely love? Are you looking through? So
I've got the odds here. So to win the premiership, they're $151, Das.
If I'm a North Melbourne fan, I'm getting on that.
To make the grand final, $100. Minor premiership, $250. Top 4 is $81. To make the top 8 is $21. Least wins is $4.50. I can find out what they are to miss the 8, but I'll quickly get it. I've got it right here. To miss the top 8. They're $1.01, which is pretty sad. Is the best bet Sheezel to make the All-Australian at $4? Or is it Larky to win the Coleman at $17, Das? What did you have as the best bet? I think it's one of those two. I think those other odds just don't make sense for a team. That is just a team that's in no man's land because they're $4.50 for least wins. They're better than that, but they're not making the 8. $1 to miss the 8. There's no value in that. So it is a bit of a tough one. What did you have as your best bet, Das?
Not Larky to win the Coleman because we know we like that at 17-1, but you've got the other breakdowns of the goals. So I just think this is the best. So Larky for 50 goals is $2.50.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. For 60 goals, which he definitely could, is $4.80.
Yeah.
And then for 70 goals is $10.
Yeah, like them all.
I think he's kicking over 50. So I think $2.50. So if you're doing a futures bet or you're multing up, I know, like the best players of just a couple things. If I had like 5 bets, I think I would put Larky in there for $2.50 in like a futures multi. So I've got that there. I'd probably put in like Jesse Hogan 50 as well, like whatever. But he would probably be one of my 5 favorite bets looking at that on the year. And especially if you are building a multi out of them, $2.50 Jev is awesome.
Yeah,
like it's not like it's $1.30, like it's $2.50. That's going to multiply your multi by heaps. So points bet, I can, once we get this pot out, they'll probably come down to $1.90 because $2.50 Jev, they're only getting better. So I think 50 goals is a lock, to be honest.
Yeah. So what is their floor of wins? What is their floor, Das?
I think it's 5 wins. I think that's their floor. I think it's I can't see them capitulating and doing, because they were so close to pinching like 4 games last year.
Yeah.
Collingwood game, Carlton game. They had a few others, but they're the 2 that really spring out. I just think, it was an average 3 wins. Like that was so much better than that. They'll beat St Kilda. They'll beat West Coast. They'll beat Richmond.
Yeah.
They'll pinch a few games here and there. 100% that they will. So I think 5 wins, Jev, is their floor. Anything under, as you said, if it's 4 wins, it's an absolute failure. I think their floor has to be 5. What about you?
Yeah, I wrote their floor is 3, and that would make me sick this year.
Yeah.
3 the last 2 years and 2 the year before. They have to improve, but that is their floor. They need to become good. I don't even know what I've written here. Just too good for teams at Marvel Stadium. They need to become really good at Marvel Stadium. And then what do you have their ceilings of wins at, Das?
I think their max is about 8.
I said the exact same thing.
Yeah, so they pinch a few. They'll still get in a few close tussles, but they'll still lose those. Like they might be with Brisbane till 3/4 time somehow in a game. They're like, shit, North Melbourne are rolling, and then Brisbane just run over the top. So I still think, they're a year away from breaking out. But I think 8 wins, Jev. I definitely think they could do it.
Yeah, I said, is their ceiling 8? I like their schedule. Can they become a problem under the lid at Marvel? Will Sheezel, LDU, McKirch and Larky just win games off their own boot this year? And it just starts clicking and, you can go from a 2-win team to a 10-win team. You just get it right in the preseason. So I wrote down 8 as well. And that gets us to our over-under, Das. 5.5 is their over-under. It has to be over, doesn't it? Has to be.
Yep, unless if you absolutely hate North Melbourne, I feel that the improvements there, it has to be 5 wins. It's got to be over 5.5. By the way, I don't think we didn't even talk about Zerha really today. He kicked 5, by the way, in the intra-club. He's another one in the gun, Jev.
Yeah.
He's another one that he just has to have a good season. He has to put it together. He's got to kick 2 or 3 every week.
Yeah.
I think he will definitely get better with Darling being in the side. So Zerha, I know that you're listening. I know you love the season previews from the boys, but yeah, keep grilling meat and keep kicking the snags. And Paul Curtis, keep benching.
So we get to the multi. If you're a North lover and I think we've basically already said what this multi should be, Das. Over 5.5 wins.
Yep.
Larky to kick 50 goals.
$2.50.
Harry Sheezel to make All-Australian.
That's at 4-1 as well. That could be my favourite.
That'll be 20-1 that multi.
That's
basically
nice.
Around that. Sheezel to make All-Australian, Larky to kick 50 goals and over the 5.5. If I'm a North Melbourne supporter, I am all in on that bet. Like, I
100%.
love that bet. Are you all in?
Fucking oath.
Let's
Absolutely.
go. That is... Yeah.
I might have to leave the lamb chops on for the rest of the other previews we do. I was trying to hide it from you, and then bang, there they are.
See them. They're thin.
You can see them.
No, they're not bad.
They're tough. They're so good.
He's got
5.5 wins, North Melbourne. Kanga.
Roo. See, Das, that is North.
See you, Bucks.
What are you prepared to lose today? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.